Okay guys, so today we have an unboxing of the Corsair Carbide Spec 01. This is a mid-tower gaming case, has a big side panel window, especially for the price point. For this price point I think you're looking at around near €60. But for the price point it's a no-brainer. So we're going to take our not so usable knife and attempt to open this box. Sides are really taped down. Don't use a kitchen knife to try and open a box, by the way, it does not work. Okay, so you look just in the box here. That is the front of the case. So now of course nothing ever goes smoothly, but that'll give us a reason to talk about the foam. Foam, it's hard foam, which means if it gets a really big knock, that like 10cm drop wouldn't have done anything to it. If it gets a hard enough knock in transit, it'll just crack. So it's never ideal, but it helps. And then turn it again. Now, off goes our foam. I think they do this on purpose so that it takes us like twice the time to open the actual box. Okay, so here we have our case. So it seems like the entire front panel is made of plastic, and then top, sides, everything else is made of metal. So the right side, the entire thing isn't made of plastic, which you will actually see on some cases, and it is not very nice. The color matchings of the black, sometimes you can see grey on the plastic and then black on the metal. It seems to be blended pretty well. I think you might have been able to do a little bit better of a job. On the top here, you have place for two 120mm fans. And again, it would have been nice to see those filters, but I guess if you're using those, they would be exhaust, so dust settling wouldn't be too bad. You have place for a rear 120mm fan. This case only comes with one fan. It is a red LED intake on the front. You can see it just in there. So I'm sure we'll be able to find the 120mm fan lying around this house somewhere. And now let's get on to taking this plastic off. That glorious sound that makes my ears bleed. And okay, so thumb screws are not on very tight, that's nice to see. Sometimes you'll get a new case and you'll have to use a screwdriver to take the thumb screws off. There we go. One thing I will say is this case is very, very light. All the panels just seem to be really, really light. So here we have our clump of cables. I'm guessing are twist tied. Go. So I have your USB 3, your HD audio, your USB 2, and then you have your like LEDs for the front of the case and whatnot. Here in a second. Here we have our little bag of screws, and this would be a good time to talk about the drive mounts. So they're very flexible, so you flex it, put the drive in, close it. That's then, the drive is then like planted to this, and you just slide it in. Move around a bit, which might be a bit of vibration, but I don't think it'll be too bad. And now, get our knife again. Now, nothing else in there. So inside a bag we have more bags and cable ties. And there is a standoff. I have no idea what just happened. I'm guessing it just fell out. So we have multiple bags inside that one bag. And I think, are these screws for a radiator? Okay, so wherever the standoff came out of, I don't know, but it's there. And then we get a few cable ties as well. So for front I/O, we have obviously your power button. It takes quite a bit of force to push this in, but it won't be too bad. A USB 2, your headphone, a hard drive LED, your microphone USB 3, and it seems like that's a super speed port, which means it should charge your phone or tablet or whatever twice as fast. And your, once again, hard to push in reset button. If we go back into the inside of the case, we have, as you saw before, we have 4 drive cages, so we can have 2 hard drives, 2 SSDs, 4 hard drives, 4 SSDs, anything. So the SSDs just go on with the screws there in the middle. And then we have obviously a toolless, a toolless 5¼ inch bay. And now you can have a better look at our front fan. It's a red LED fan. Now all the standoffs are in, and then we have the one guiding standoff. So that'll just, like, you can put your motherboard down so that it'll be seated properly, so you don't have to be moving it around. We have obviously a place for your I/O and your motherboard. 7 expansion slots, which means this case can only take up to 80x. And of course, place for your power supply with rubber mounts, or rubber pads for it to sit on, anti-vibration. Then that's pretty much it for the inside of the case. Now, if we that one was hard to get off. Now, cable management, there's not a lot of space. Like I can't fit a finger down there. But there is a slight bulge on the side panel, which I would say, after it all, you're gonna get nearly, well, barely, probably a centimeter of cable management space, and that's gonna be around this area. And again, no rubber grommets, but I guess if you found ones that were big enough, they're kind of this metal's folded over, so it's not sharp, so you'd be able to put in your own grommets if you wanted to. But it would have been nice to see them. Then again, for this case price point, what more could you ask for, really? Now, it is nice to see black cables. Then again, from Corsair usually go, well, relatively above and beyond. They're a very good brand, especially in their power supplies. And yeah, so black cables, relatively roomy interior. You can have 4 drives, which would be more than enough for, like, maybe your first gaming build, maybe. You have a place to put a 240 radiator. You have two spaces for fans in the front. I guess if you wanted to, you could put a 120. No, you wouldn't be able to fit a 120 radiator in there because it's perfectly sized for a fan. But you can have a nice fan back there. So all in all, you can make this case look really, really nice. Get Get a nice few fans, do whatever you want with it, and it'll turn out pretty nice. So here we have our case, and it does come with a manual, but you should know how to build a computer by now. Now if we just line this up and just spin it, of course dust is on the top, that's what you get for living with a few cats. So all your expansion slots here. Okay, so I'm looking forward to doing a build in this. It'll be coming up with maybe next 2-3 days on the channel, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. And yeah, so if we just spin this again, it does not want to spin properly, but anyway. Yep, it should turn out pretty nice.